Welcome to the second programme in this Faith and Life two-part special about Sister Jennifer from the Heart of Jesus, a Carmelite nun based in the Spanish city of Ronda in the south of Spain. In our first programme, Sister Jennifer told us about her life growing up in the British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar. She described the events in her journey to finding her vocation. A Gibraltarian with a big heart and an infectious laugh. Now prioress of this historic monastic site.
I had it rough in my childhood. I had good parents, but like all families, there were things lacking. I ended school at 15, was fed up with teachers and school and all the rest. And I was a daydreamer, which was normal. I used to dream of being somebody else, of living in some other place, and all that stuff. We used to go to the discotheques, all of us, and we used to dance and drink, and in the middle of, and all those, like, we used to sit down, and somebody had a Bible in the discotheque. And you, look, I've read this, and what does it mean to you? It means this. And something we used to say, 2 or 3 in the morning. I got hold of a friend of mine and said, come on, you're going to pray over me. Because I know God wants something, but I don't know. It wasn't about religious, right? Now we're talking about prayer life. God wants something of me, but I don't know what it is. And I don't know if it's me who's blocking him. So I want you to pray until whatever breaks and it comes through. Okay. And we were trying and blah, 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 blah. And suddenly Joe says, are you sure you don't have a vocation?
Sister, we're here at the monastery and it's really lovely that you've given us this permission to have now a face-to-face interview. Could you tell us what is a typical day for a Carmelite nun here at Ronda?
Typical day anywhere really. Get up early, we at 6:25, 6:30 we get up and go into prayer at 7 with Lord's normal liturgical prayers and more or less an hour of mental prayer. Then we go off to breakfast, and after that, when we come to Mass. Other places have it at 8 o'clock, we have it at 9:30, and it's open to the public.
Que será entregado por vosotros.
And then we start with our work. We have a vow of poverty, which means poor people work, and they work hard. Maybe it's just to pay the electricity with the charges that are rising right now, or whatever. So that's what we do. We work a lot.
And that's the reason then for actually baking cakes and selling them?
Yes.
And when did that tradition of baking cakes start?
Well, it started when we started here in 1924. This was founded. And they tried other stuff, but mainly cakes. Cakes have always been excellent because you do them or you don't do them. It's not something really hard. It's hard work, but it's not something like embroidery that you leave it, you've got a time set, it's got to be done by such a time, whatever. it's not, you know. But here, cakes are the best. Many convents have tried to do other stuff and bought machinery. In the end, they've had to leave it all, start with something simple, like cakes.
And did you enjoy baking before you became a nun?
No, definitely not. Although it was what I mainly did when I came in, help out my novice mistress, who was head of the cakes. But you know, it's like everything. You've got to do stuff. You don't do stuff because you like it or love it or whatever. No, because then I wouldn't. If that were the case, wouldn't be in a convent. You do what you have to do.
These cakes and the pastries, I've tasted them. They're absolutely
Wait
beautiful.
for 2 hours. Then talk.
Well, could you tell everyone, if someone wants to buy your cakes or pastries, where do they go?
Well, you're talking because we're in an enclosed order. How do we sell the cakes? Well, that's very ingenious. We've got a turnstile. You press the bell and you ask what cakes you want. That's in the window display. And then generally you're asked to put your money and we'll give you the cakes. But sometimes they don't put the money. So you're spinning around and the money's not there. And they say kind of, you know, if I've got to trust you, you've got to trust me. Put the cakes and then I'll put the money. And sometimes I wonder and say, okay, here, have the cakes. Sometimes they run away with it, but anyway, they have.
Really?
Yeah. And it costs a lot for me not to open the door and run after them. I mean it.
Hablo inglés?
Yes, I do. What would you like?
Could have tortas de la virgin and lengua de gato.
Okay. That's $6.25, please.
Gracias. Gracias. How has COVID affected the order?
COVID entered the convent. 5 were very ill. We put them aside. Another one we had to put away in her cell so she wouldn't get it. She's got diabetes. And the other one was too young and didn't know quite what to do. So we were there raising. I had to get somebody from outside to help me, employ her. And she went in to live with them. And she said, well, if I die, you know.
Me llama a través de una amiga en común, me llama Madre Jennifer para hacerme cargo del archivo histórico y empezar a ordenar y a digitalizar el archivo. Y yo empecé arriba a trabajar en el archivo histórico y llevaba aquí escasos 10 días cuando se contagiaron las hermanas de COVID. Entonces, pues bueno, Madre Jennifer me llamó y me dijo que, bueno, que había que cuidar a las hermanas, que no había personal y que si yo quería, yo no sé, yo creo que fue el Señor, en ese momento me tocó, ni lo pensé, yo dije sí. Entonces me vine a vivir con las hermanas infectadas, estaba 24 horas con ellas cuidándolas, a las que tenían positivo, eran 5 y fue la experiencia más absolutamente increíble de mi vida. Impresionante, cómo se palpaba la presencia de Dios dentro del cansancio físico, dentro del cansancio espiritual, porque cuando llegas al límite del físico casi no puedes ni rezar. Y la única oración que salía era: Señor, manténme en pie para poder seguir cuidándolas.
2 died, so we had 1 before without COVID, another 2, so it was 3 within a few months, but 2 of them, 1 day after the other. Do you know what it's like to be total silence? No mass, nothing. We couldn't allow anybody to get in here.
And did you miss having the Mass during those 2 months?
Well, we put a radio called Radio Maria. I never appreciated, we don't really have the radio on, but I said, I know they've got this, that, and the other. So I began to put the radio on, so that there was one in the oratory could do the Lord's, and then for the Mass, we would hear it. The others would try through a phone to hear it, and I would take the communion to all of them.
Lovely.
But sometimes we've got to break the routine. Yeah. I mean, Mass is Mass, nobody's arguing that. But sometimes we can become in a routine. And when you break those routines and suddenly you're there with the Lord, no, taking Him, and that this awe and the elderly, you know, you can see their faith, you know, incorporating themselves, and you give them the Lord, and they stay very quiet. Because maybe when you're here, you're having the communion or whatever, somebody walks by, or hey, you know, you're distracted. But there was this. I mean, quite frankly, it was an experience.
They had a real moment.
Yes, we all had.
A real encounter.
We all had.
People during 2020, there was lockdowns, there was all these restrictions, they had to stay in their homes, were not allowed to leave. And I mean, given the situation of the Carmelite nuns, that's quite normal. So were you able to give any guidance?
Yes, we were asked, I was asked actually by the Gibraltar Chronicle in Gib if I could write an article, and I said, we live COVID restrictions all the time for her whole life. We shall not be in contact type of thing or whatever. So I used to tell them, make use of what you've been given a chance. How many people say, if only I could stay at home for today, I would read this book, I would see this film. I got to do this thing at home. If only I could be at home, but you're never at home, you're working. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, you've got it now. Use it. Read those books you wanted to read. You know, do those things you want to do but couldn't do. Use it, because it's gonna go. And then you say, oh, if only I had the time. Do it now. You've got the time. It's been given to you. There's so much positive thing that we could look at, but nobody looks at the positive. You're longing to be at home. Now you can be home. No, I don't want to be home now.
People don't like being told what to do.
Yeah, I know, but it's sad. Father Charlie Esbardi, they've come to our aid, so has Rhonda, by the way. Yeah? People went out of the way, first to bring food, to give donations. Gibraltar went out of its way totally. We depend on tourists. And if COVID doesn't let tourists come over, you've got a crisis, right? This is an exchange. They load up our ladders and we give them cakes to sell. So when Father Charlie took it into his hand to help us out, and his parish, and Gibraltar, but naturally it began with his parish, he's done wonders.
Okay, and that one we can put here, no? Okay. During the pandemic, we've realized that a lot of the work of the sisters, which is to do cakes as their basically livelihood, they sustain themselves by the work they do. They used to have lots of tourists coming. They used to have lots of Gibraltarians who used to come and visit and always buy their cakes. And we've realized that wasn't happening during the pandemic. So we spoke of the possibility of getting the cakes into Gibraltar, selling them in the parish, and that helps the sisters with the upkeep of the convent.
trabajar con Madre Jennifer es una experiencia increíble, increíble. Nunca hubiese pensado, antes de llegar aquí, que trabajar con una monja de clausura podía ser tan impresionante. Cada día es diferente. Porque Madre Jennifer es un torbellino de fuerza, de alegría y de creatividad. Y eso supone pues una entrega diaria dentro de todo lo que conlleva esa entrega de ella. Porque no hay límite. Su entrega no tiene fronteras, no tiene límite. Y su creatividad, yo todavía no he descubierto el límite de creatividad de Madre Jennifer. Es impresionante.
I haven't been taught. I've just had to manage and think, well, this must be done like this. It's got to be done like this. And you do it, not knowing what the end product is going to be. So you're always scared. What if it comes out wrong? Tough. But, you know. I keep on and keep on and keep on, and then afterward just, sand it down to make it all roundish. What's the real mission of a contemplative nun?
Okay.
Because you don't go out to help children, you don't have to mission, you really quite wasted life. I'm praying that you be moved to pray because your life depends on it. I'm sacrificing myself so that you will be moved to realize that you can live your life carousing all the time. And the amount of people who come, the amazing people who come and say nothing, they just talk it and suddenly you talk to them and say, you got something that I don't have. And also, I've realized a lot of people come see the nuns and go, friend, say, we find you so happy. They feel we authentically are happy. Mm-hmm. Now, we wouldn't be happy if we were shut in a prison, because this is like a prison, right? But materially, it's not, because we've got a higher ideal. If we are silent, it's because we want to hear our beloved. And we are in contact with the world. People tell us all the news, everything that goes bad, people ring us up, please pray. And you pray. But you just don't pray, you just give them a word of hope.
And you mentioned there people need hope. And one of the things you've got here in the convent is a relic of St. Therese.
And I'm about to show it to you, if I can. We are Discalced Carmelites. We come from St. Teresa of Avila, St. Teresa of Jesus. I don't know if you can see it. When St. Teresa died over 500 years ago, she was buried quickly in Alba de Tormes. The nuns didn't want her to be taken away. But 9 months later, the provincial came and they asked him, can we bring her up? Because we think that the box was broken. They put stones, and it's true. When they brought her up, her nose was broken, it was earth. But she was totally flexible, as if she's just died. Then the provincials, because in those days and age, you could get a piece of their body. Now you can't. You can get a relic of a piece of cloth. The nuns didn't know he'd taken it, took it away, and took it to Lisboa, to a Portuguese convent. In 1910, they were all Portuguese by then, and they were thrown out of Portugal because of the religious beliefs. They came here, they were dispersed, they left their hand in Avila. In 1924, this was founded, and what the priest said, why don't we get the nuns who are dispersed and make the whole community? So they did. And the nuns wrote to Avila and said, the hand belongs to us. So it was brought over.
And many people come here to see the relic.
They come, especially because now the word has spread that barren women or women who've been married for a long time and haven't had children, they come to ask her to intercede.
Sister, what would you say to someone that looks at your life and says, that must be a waste of a life, that must be awful to be behind those bars?
I know. And that happens to a lot of people. They can't see a sense to our lives. My life is based on faith. So if you don't look at it through faith, you don't really know what you're doing. But I would ask that person before they judge anything, if they're sincere, because nowadays everybody has an opinion, but nobody's sincere enough to want to know why. I mean, everybody opinionated, everybody. They know everything about everything. And you say, but do you know this? No. Why don't you find out first, before talking? But they don't care. Just people want to be, I would say, come and find out. Come and talk. Come and read. And if you're a believer, kneel and pray. I don't need to tell you. God will do it himself. God will do it himself. But it's a life of faith. It won't be understood. I mean, there's nothing I can pull out of my sleeve to make you believe. And I don't need you to believe. Because I don't need you to believe in me. I need you to believe in him. And if you're believing in him, I don't care if you don't believe in me. I really don't care.
Sister, what I would like to say is thank you very much for giving us your time and coming out behind the bars to meet us like this. So thank you very much for this interview.
You're welcome. Sorry that you've probably wasted more time than you should have.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
God bless.
God bless.